Good morning. What are y'all doing here? I appreciate you coming this morning on short notice. First of all, I'd like to say a little something about our friend Andrew Bailey. As you know, yesterday President Trump announced that he's appointed Andrew Bailey as the co-deputy director of the FBI. I'd like to say congratulations to Andrew and his family. Andrew is a great guy and been a great friend to me and many Missourians. Since his appointment by Governor Parson to this position in 2022, Andrew and his team have worked hard right across the street from here to truly make Missouri a national leader in protecting our freedoms, our Constitution, and upholding the rule of law. I know he truly cares about making our state and nation even stronger and safer for the next generation. I sincerely believe that this selection further emphasizes the President's commitment to enforcing law and order in our nation. As you know, Andrew is a U.S. Army veteran and prosecutor. Andrew has spent his career fighting for Americans and know he will continue to do a great job serving in D.C. in this new role at the FBI. And although I've missed Andrew very, very much here in Missouri, I want to say thank you to President Trump and United States Attorney General Pam Bondi for selecting Andrew. Missouri has a truly incredible legal talent pipeline, and we know Attorney General Bailey will continue to make our state proud. This morning, I'm happy to announce the role of Attorney General is incredibly significant in our state, and serving as the Chief Legal Officer for the state. The Attorney General, as you know, is the top cop. It is not lost on me the incredible importance of selecting the right person for this job, and my team and I took this selection very seriously. We wanted the most qualified person who is ready to work on day one. So today, I'm proud to announce the next Attorney General of Missouri, Catherine Hanaway. A former U.S. attorney and someone who is very familiar with this building that we stand in today, Katherine is talented, trusted prosecutor who has a passion for enforcing the rule of law. Katherine previously served as the Chief Federal Law Enforcement Officer for the Eastern District of Missouri, where she supervised more than 4,000 criminal, affirmative, and defense cases, personally tried cases to jury verdicts. She also supervised and assisted the development of cutting-edge theories of criminal prosecution. Katherine will be and is tough on crime, and we look forward to continuing our partnership with the Attorney General's office under her leadership and our #1 priority, which is public safety. Katherine will assume the role of Missouri Attorney General on September 8th, when Attorney General Bailey is sworn in as Deputy Director of the FBI, and we will work with the Attorney General's office to ensure a smooth transition process. In addition to being the first major statewide office appointee of our administration, Katherine will be the first woman to hold the position in state history, something she is very familiar with as the only woman who has been the Speaker of the House of Missouri history. On a personal note, Claudia and I are proud to call Katherine and her family is with her today, and I'm grateful that they support her in this sacrifice as longtime trusted friends. I've known Katherine for over 20 years. She represents and understands Missouri conservative values. She led that historic effort in the House just several years ago to make Missouri the great place it is today with those conservative values. Katherine's husband, Chris, joins us today along with her children, Lucy and Jack. And on a real personal note, as you all know, Katherine's a horse person. Most people would probably never guess that. Katherine grew up in rural Nebraska. I called her a drummer because she did the barrels, but she does understand rural values, and I think that's another reason that rural Missouri has connected and will continue to connect with Katherine's values, as we know is so important here in our state. Thank you to the entire Hanoway family for supporting Katherine and serving Missourians in this new role. I'd ask that Missourians pray for her and her family in this next chapter. Congratulations to Catherine Hanaway, Missouri's 45th Attorney General. Katherine, I'll hand it over to you for a few words.
Governor, thank you so much. It is a big day, and I am maybe a little choked up already. There are a lot of thank yous I need to say, but the first and most important one is to you for making this appointment and to you and Claudia for serving our state so incredibly well. I also want to thank some friends and mentors who I know were involved in this selection process: Adam Gershom, Lowell Pearson, Andy Blunt, Bill Corrigan, and Ray Wagner, all of whom have had a lot of good influences on the Attorney General's office. I also want to thank somebody who's not with us. This is the part that made me choke up a little bit, who was a historic figure in this building and a great leader and a great friend to both the governor and I. Ron Richard showed us all how to really serve the public of Missouri, and I'm sure he's smiling right now. I'm grateful to all of my partners at Hush Blackwell. This is a sacrifice. It's a big change. I had just completed about a year ago serving as chair of that firm, which is more than 1,200 lawyers in 25 cities. And first, last, and always, I want to thank my family. My husband, Chris, my rock, who makes it all possible. Our daughter, Lucy, who I can remember was exactly this big when I started serving in the legislature and came down with me. Our son, John, who joined us from Belarus while I was speaker. We went through a lot of losing election days, so to be here winning is just so fantastic. I also they can't be here. I want to thank my mom, my dad, my brother, sister, and nieces. There's some other thank yous I want to make that are so important to this job, and I want to start with the General Assembly. Obviously, I have a special place in my heart for the General Assembly, having served there. But the partnership between the General Assembly and the Attorney General's office is absolutely critical. It's a source of funding, and it is a source of righteous investigations. I hope to continue to have a great partnership, and I will need leadership from the General Assembly. I want to thank General Bailey. It is absolutely remarkable what he has accomplished in his short tenure, and he is handing off an office that is in better shape than that office has been in a very long time, and I'm eager to get there. I want to thank the men and women who work in that office. They are tirelessly committed to protecting the rule of law and the Constitution and the public safety of all Missourians. It's a great office, and I can't wait to get there and show the people just that work there how valued they are. I also, maybe in the category of a little bit longer term, I want to thank the judges here in Missouri for carrying out justice. I think I'm, going to be spending a lot of time with them, so I want to make sure that they know I'm very grateful for what they do. I'm humbled beyond belief to accept this appointment. The governor mentioned my rural roots. My first introduction to Missouri was I came to the University of Missouri. I ultimately transferred to Creighton, but the dorm I moved into, which was Wolpers, was bigger than the small town I came from in Clarkson, Nebraska. I mean, it was eye-opening. And some of you know in the last few years I've been down here to testify on behalf of the glyphosate bill that allows farmers to grow soybeans without having manual labor out there pulling the weeds out. Part of the reason I'm so supportive of that bill is that's what I did all of my teenage years. We used to call it walking beans or hoeing beans. So to go from a town of what is now 639 people to standing in the governor's office and accepting this appointment is truly humbling and almost unbelievable to me. The first and most important part of this job is to protect Missourians from anyone who would do violence against them, who would rip them off in financial schemes, who would abuse them through providing terrible care and getting paid by Medicaid, and anyone who would try to invade their constitutional rights. Working with local prosecutors, sheriffs, police, and the Highway Patrol, fighting crime is and will remain job one for this office. I look forward to having a close and collaborative relationship with law enforcement, as I did when I was United States Attorney. I'm assuming this office at an unprecedented moment of technological change. AI is already changing how law is practiced in the private sector, and I do think that that knowledge is something special I'm going to bring with me to the Attorney General's office, having had the resources of one of the largest law firms in the country, and be able, I know the AG's office is going to be technologically behind, but we need to start to evolve. So it will be a priority of mine to be a leader in realizing the efficiencies that AI can provide, but also a leader in protecting Missourians from any abuses that may be rendered through AI. And just to kind of wrap up, this year, Missouri lost one of its greatest public servants, a man who started his career as an assistant attorney general in the Missouri AG's office and went on to serve as governor and senator. And of course, I'm talking about Kit Bond, who was my first boss in public service and taught me an awful lot. But the most important lesson he taught me was pretty simple, and it was that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Now, lawyers really like to show off how much they know. But I am committed to living by that rule that Kit put out, and as I make decisions as AG, realizing that they aren't just going to be words we write in some brief, but that these decisions will have an impact on the real lives of Missourians. So, Governor, I promise to you that as AG, I will work as hard as I can. I will be innovative. I will adapt to changing times. But more than anything else, I'll show Missourians just how much I care. Thank you.
Great.
A couple of questions for Mrs. Hanaway. Whoever wants to go first.
Ms. Kehoe, on September 8th, you'll swear an oath to uphold the state constitution. Do you consider Amendment 3 a part of that state constitution?
It is currently a part of that state constitution. I know that there's ongoing litigation to clarify what exactly the amendment means. I think there's many unresolved issues, and the office has been pursuing that litigation, and I'll continue to do so.
But quick follow-up, part of your record includes a 20-week abortion ban, which is more lenient than the current Attorney General would prefer. What should the people of Missouri know about your personal views on that issue and how it will affect the ongoing litigation?
Yeah, so I have a long history of being pro-life. I am pro-life. I, certainly have, like most women, or not most women, but many women, we had some infertility struggles. I'm empathetic to that, but I believe in the sanctity of human life.
Since you represented there with liability lawsuits on pesticides, what's your plan to address that in the Attorney General's office when it comes to liability lawsuits? And then what's your plan also to address the criminal express?
Okay, so let me take the second one first. I have recently been working, just for those who don't know, you probably all know, our firm was retained to respond to a civil investigative demand from the AG's office on behalf of the Grain Belt Express. Since I had that matter in private practice, when I switch over to the Attorney General's office, I'll have to recuse myself, but the team that is there, the great team that is there, will be able to go forward without my input. I won't be able to deal with that case, but there's a great team on it, and they can continue to do their work. With respect to glyphosate, as far as I know, there's no ongoing litigation. I don't have a forward-looking plan to file litigation. I need to get, the first I heard of this, it might be interesting, last Tuesday. So I've had a week to sort of process all of this.
So the Attorney General's office, over the past few Attorney Generals, they've only lasted about 2 years before they move on to higher office. I know you've run for higher office before. Do you still have an interest at some point in serving in some higher office, or how long do you anticipate being there?
So my game plan for sure is to serve the next 3 years, and then if Missourians will vote for me and believe I earn a full term, then I'd like to serve a full term. That's my game plan.
As the Attorney General's office, due to legislation passed through your office in charge,
I will represent the police officers of the city of St. Louis with great pride. It was such an honor to get to work with them when I was U.S. Attorney. They would bring cases directly to our office. We did about 800, that might be a high number, but hundreds of felon in possession of firearms cases that St. Louis Police brought directly to us. So I've worked with them closely for a long time, and I'll be proud to represent them.
Are there other issues that you foresee a need to recuse yourself from? And then also, do you plan to continue on the Kehoe with the St. Louis Sheriff?
So second one first, again, because it's the easy one. Yes, I do intend to continue to pursue that. I think one of the really great achievements of Andrew Bailey as Attorney General has been to make sure that our public officials serve with integrity, and he's removed those who don't. And so I definitely will continue to pursue the case involving the sheriff. And there is one other thing that I do need to recuse myself from. I'm just not remembering what it is right now. But, you know, there'll probably be a few other clients that, like, come up.
Will we see a style difference in the way you operate the office and last out issues of the day?
I don't know that you'll see an issues difference. And I'm not intimately familiar with how some of my predecessors managed. My style is to manage by walking around and really spending a lot of time with the people in that office. There are a lot of really good, talented people. I want to communicate to them that the work they do is valuable, that they are valued, and I know that they have some ideas about how to do it more effectively, and I'd really like to hear them.
Two things to follow up on her. One, you mentioned the people across the street and their capability. Will Andrew Bailey's staff be Catherine Hanaway's staff?
Yes.
Two, you have made it clear, both of you this morning, that your focus will be prosecution. Your predecessor's focus, arguably, was litigation. Does this represent a change, a significant change of focus in what that office is about?
I believe that Andrew Bailey was absolutely focused on preventing and prosecuting violent crime. I think the office has been focused on that, and it's going to continue to be focused on it. It is the #1 problem facing our state. We can't have economic development. We can't have next generations who want to stay here and make their lives here if they don't feel safe. So that's where we're going to be focused.
Thank you. Now we'll take some questions to the governor.
Governor, the announcement for Andrew Bailey was just yesterday. How much runway could you have had to prepare for a decision like this?
As Catherine said, there was just a few days' notice that we had in the last week or so, I would say, that we had an indication this could be happening. And so kind of back to my business skills, when you know there's something brewing out there, you want to try to be as ready as you can. We saw that with Governor Parson, where he had multiple different appointments in his governorship. So you always want to be ready for something like this.
Speaking of Governor Parson, a reason he decided to pick Bailey was because he wanted him to stick around. Is that happening? Do you have the same hopes for Attorney General Hanaway?
Absolutely. It was probably the first question I asked Catherine, is that this is a big challenge, and it's a great challenge really for her family and leaving a private practice that she was very, very good at. I worked with her on several different business issues up in the St. Louis area in this position in my earlier one. So I knew it was a sacrifice for her, but she felt the calling like a lot of us do. And I always tell people I had a better job for this one, and I think she might say that too. But we're both from a position that nobody thought we'd be here, and this is my way to give back, and I know Catherine feels very passionate about that as well.
Did you consult the Trump White House on this choice? Did the Trump White House have any input on this?
No.
Governor, Attorney General Andrew Bailey made it his mission, one of his missions at least, to tackle the Delta 8 problem, especially in gummies and in drinks. Do you and the new Attorney General plan on tackling that this upcoming session?
I haven't had a chance to talk to Catherine about it, but I've made very clear in my position that regulation in that product needs to happen. Access to minors to that product is not acceptable to me, and seems like the industry, no matter which side you are on which distribution channel different people like of that product, do also agree on the regulatory piece for minors, and I think that's a very important issue to make sure we somehow get the sides together and accomplish that.
Was you supported,
One from a new one.
Governor, you supported the pesticide labeling changes in legislation before. Did that play a determining role in your new appointment?
No, to be honest with you, I didn't know Catherine was representing anybody in that, to be honest with you, until just recently. I supported that because, agriculture is our number one industry. We talk about that all the time. Missouri farm families, second in the United States as far as farm families. If that product is not available in the U.S., there will be foreign interests that make a similar product and send it here. And the protections that they have now will not be the protections that they have. So protecting Missouri's farm families and quite frankly, the footprint that that company has in Missouri is all very important to me.
Was the decision to seek,
Let's get a new one here.
Was the decision, was it a litmus test as far as asking if Ms. Hanaway was interested in seeking a full term in 28?
I'm interested in providing that office stability. I think that's safe to say. For sure, the rest of this term, which is roughly 3.5 years, anybody who is in any of these offices has a personal decision if it fits with their family, if they like the job, et cetera, to continue to run. But Catherine told me that that would be her intention, is that not only to serve out this, but to seek election.
And did you talk to anybody else about the position?
Not directly. Our team probably has talked to a few other people that were interested, but I have not directly talked to anybody else.
What was your decision in choosing her versus any of the other ones? And then also, what are you hoping that her plan includes to address the Greenbelt Expressway and also any related pesticide liability lawsuits?
Well, as you can imagine, there's a whole bunch of people when this news broke yesterday that were interested in the job, and a lot of really good qualified people, men and ladies that I know very well that would all be very good at this. As I mentioned, I've known Catherine for a long time. She's run statewide before. I know that she is incredibly tough on crime. In her previous role, she has proven that. My number one thing is public safety and being able to work with the men and ladies who protect our communities all around the state. That was really important to me. It was very important to Andrew Bailey, who did a good job, and I felt like Catherine would represent the men and women in blue as good as anybody I knew. Others would have as well, but that combined with some of her past experiences, her passion for the state of Missouri, those are the types of things. You want somebody you can work with, you can trust, and Catherine alluded to it, not only just the legislators in the House and the Senate, but communities across the state. We'll find Catherine shares that same vision of community safety and public service being a priority for us. As far as the grain belt is concerned, I've said all along, I'm a big believer in private property rights, and if I had a Century Farm and somebody came and said, I use eminent domain and I'm going to go across your farm now, I wouldn't be very happy about it either. And so I know rural Missourians are very much in tune to trying to make sure they protect the property rights that they've worked so hard to maintain, and I will continue with that position.
AI efficiencies. I'm curious how you or how either of you imagine government employees or your deputies perhaps using AI on the job. Is that a possibility?
Mark, you're a lot younger. I'm too old to even know what AI is. But I thought it was interesting that Catherine brought that up because it is a real threat to people right now. You're seeing this happen, and especially a lot in our seniors and other populations that we have across this country and here in the United States, where they're using AI deceptively to get people to react to certain offers or situations. And so I was actually pleased to hear, Catherine and I had not talked about that previously, but I was happy to hear her bring that up actually, because it's a threat. And making sure we understand that technology, use it to where it's our advantage, but protect those who are being taken advantage of, I think is really important.
I was just going to say, there's some very basic things that can be done right away, like comparing deposition transcripts. You can automate that, expert witness testimony, summarizing depositions. You got to do some quality control checking, but these are tasks that would take assistant AGs a lot of time, and you can just automate a lot of that and really achieve some savings, and hopefully that'll allow us to do more cases and free up assistant AGs to kind of do the higher order level of thinking and take some of those rote things out. Even research can now be an AI plain language model. You know, the big research institutions like Westlaw all have quality ones that protect any personal information so that it doesn't get out into sort of those large language models.
One more, Governor Kehoe.
Whatever, I feel like just because we asked you about redistricting, I know you love that question.
Where's the map I gave you last week, Dave? I gave him a map, everybody.
So, you know, the Texas Democratic return, it looks like Texas is actually going to move forward with redistricting. So, is Texas moving to do that? Is that a necessary step for you? Were you waiting to see Texas move before you call a special session?
No, I don't think that was, we've been obviously watching what Texas is doing. Other states are considering doing this as well, as you know. And I've said all that it's interesting to me that the Democrats start talking about gerrymandering. When you look at the states they're in charge of, that is the definition of gerrymandering. So our goal, if we move forward, and there's no decision to move forward, Dave, is to make sure Missouri's values are reflected in Washington, D.C. And I've said many times that I think our current speaker does a very good job of matching the values of Missourians.
Governor, there is political capital that could be spent by going forward with that. If California and New York are going to counter Texas and it's a wash and it does nothing to change the outcome in Washington next year, do you really want to get that on this state?
Well, there's always political capital, Kermit, in any decision that you make, as you know. But I'm not sure how they could gerrymander those states more. They're pretty well tied up. But you can't, that can't factor into the process. The process has to be, in my opinion, who represents Missouri's values the best, and what do we need to do to make sure that continues into the future.
Thank you, that's it, we're done with questions. So do you not think that a 6-2 map is representative of Missouri's values?
I think that Speaker Johnson is representative of Missouri values, and making sure he stays there. I don't think Congressman Jeffries and some of the comments, especially that he's made lately, do not match Missouri's values. Even Democratic values in this state do not match some of the things and positions he's taken. And that is concerning to me, and it's concerning, as you know, we just finished 11 days of the state fair. I heard it left and right. It's very concerning to many Missourians who hear some of the positions that he's taken from a state, by the way, that's about to try to elect a pronounced socialist as their mayor. That definitely does not match Missouri's values.
California and New York actually have fair maps and a commission to draw. Would you bring that to Missouri?
I haven't contemplated that yet, Mark. I know that they do have a commission, but that's not something we've looked into, and I don't know if that's that might take a constitutional action in order to do that, would be my guess. But thank you guys for being here today. Congratulations to Katherine.